So,
Live young.
Carl Hartley, welcome, dude.
Thank you. Thanks
How's
for having
things?
me. Yeah, good.
Good?
Happy to be here.
Mate, it's been a while. I've been trying to get you down here for ages.
It's a great setup.
Well, how does it compare to your throne? Because you have just built a serious showroom. haven't
Yeah. Well, we looked at that on the last video, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mate, it's just great. It's just lovely. There's various PPF detailing spots dotted around the country, but this gives a real personal feel. And this area, it just feels like home, doesn't
Lounge.
it?
Yeah, I think that was the idea, really. You know, make it really, drop the guards and make it a no obligation, come and hang out.
I just want to come in here, have a few beers.
That's it. That's what
see
it's
what you're
about.
doing.
I mean, you joke, the fridge is full of it. So.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So, as a spot of context, welcome back to the Mr. JWW podcast, or as it's become known, Full Chat.
Full Chat.
So the reason this podcast started a long time ago, I had what I thought was a great idea, which turned out to be a really stupid idea, of hosting a podcast in a car while I was driving. At the time, I had a 675 LT, and it's got the sound deadening of an old fighter jet. So no matter what we did, the audio was terrible. So I thought, this isn't good. Let's do this some other time. And it transpires, it's taken me almost 3 years to do it right. But when we had this space, I was like, okay, let's do it. And on that way, I've met interesting people like yourself. So I'm going to summarize you really quickly.
Okay.
And then you can be like, yeah, but.
Be kind.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, it's super quick. So for me, I grew up reading car magazines printed in the UK since I could learn to read, really. And I would always open up the magazine, be it Evo or whatever, and after I'd finished reading the articles, there was always a Tom Hartley advert in there. And without exception, you always had the craziest stock, right?
Yep.
So my association with Hartleys in the UK is having the best, craziest supercar stock that I've ever seen. And then recently, we went to your showroom, and you, myself, and Paul had a walk around doing finance examples. And I think, looking back, we did examples on more hypercars than we did supercars.
Yeah.
So that's a spot of context in the sort of bracket and world you operate in. But I want to go back, talk to you about what's it like growing up in a family and an environment where, because you literally walk out of your door, your house.
Yeah. We both live on the what we call the Hartley estate.
Yeah.
So we've got 40 odd acres. My father's house is there, my house is here, and both showrooms are now either side.
It's the coolest setup. Like, you go in
I'm
and
just
it's
always late for work.
which is crazy because you're, 10 foot away from work?
Yeah, about
Amazing.
11 feet, yeah.
What's it like? What's it like growing up in a world, well, do you ever become desensitized
Of course.
to these cars?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, when I was younger, when I was a kid, it was the norm for me to be around these kind of cars because it's all I've ever done.
Yeah.
So I used to look forward to coming home from school and walking to the office and seeing what my dad had bought that day, what had sold that day. If there was a new car coming out, I was so enthusiastic about a new 355 or a new 993 turbo. I can even go back to 964 turbos and 928s and stuff like that when I was, 3-4 years old.
Yeah.
And I was one of them kids when they were 2. They couldn't say mum or dad, but they could say F40. So for me, it was normal, although it was so far from being normal. Because I went to a dead normal school, just a primary school in the local village.
How often did your dad come and pick you up in an
But that's the
F40 or
thing,
something
like
that?
most days,
Yeah.
you get picked up in this, car that, look, if it was a 993 turbo.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't an F40, but it's still like
Still
blow your
awesome.
mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to me, it's like just dead normal. So I didn't realize how far away from normal it actually was.
Yeah.
Then when I got a bit older, and I went through a stage where I got into cars way more because I understood them more and I understood the values of them, and that would impress me.
Yeah.
And then when I got involved in the business, I left school when I was 12 years old and sort of became homeschooled and went into the car business at the same time. When I started dealing in these cars, buying and selling them, the cars became less attractive to me. I was less impressed by cars. I would only look at a car and think, right, we've had that in stock for 2 months, we could do with selling that.
Yeah.
We need to buy another one of those. And sometimes, my dad is the worst in the world for it. Like the other day, we just had a Koenigsegg CCXR edition.
Yeah.
It's like one of 4 in the world, the
I saw
only
it.
right-hand drive
Full
one.
exposed carbon
Full exposed
body.
carbon. It's been in the showroom for 3 days, and he only seen it yesterday.
Crazy, huh?
He has to walk past it.
Yeah.
You just don't take notice.
I mean, I'd be licking the window with that thing.
Yeah. So it becomes very blasé after a while.
Yeah.
Even with my wife walks in, she doesn't see a thing. She doesn't see a car.
Like,
we'll go to London,
yeah.
she'll see someone drive past in an Aventador,
yeah.
and she'll be like, that's a lovely car that is, isn't it?
Funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's in the context of your environment, it's just a stock item.
It's a business.
You might as well be selling furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know when you say you can't see the wood through the trees?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
Some people, like you've been there, you can come to my place and not see a Carrera GT or a 918 because you've looked at an Enzo and a LaFerrari and whatever else you've
It is
caught your eye.
crazy. It is a mad world. You step into your place and
Yeah.
it is like an attack on the senses when you start adding it up.
Yeah.
It's mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, and that's the bit.
Yes.
What takes my passion away from? I still have a big passion for cars, obviously.
Sure, yeah.
But that's what takes me away from being a fan, if you will, is
The value.
I've got
as a
19
product.
million pounds worth of stock here.
And that's a big part of what separates you from a lot of dealers. So what's happening a lot in the market right now is a lot of cars aren't actually dealership stock. They are SOR, which for guys who aren't familiar with that term means sale or return, which effectively means the client's dropped it off, you don't buy it, but you help them sell it. Yeah, you're different.
Well, I find it's extremely hard to make that work. Don't get me wrong. There's something we do a little bit of because you have to. But predominantly we own 90% of all our cars. And the reason that is, if you're a car dealership and you haven't got substantial funds, but you're selling a £400,000 car, and someone comes in like, right, I want to buy that car, it's £400,000. This is my £250,000 car that I want to swap in against it. Well, you don't own the car because you probably haven't got the funds to own it.
Yeah.
So you can't take in his £250,000 car in part exchange. So that means you can't do the deal. So you're waiting on a guy just coming in and saying, "Oh, I'll buy that."
Let's buy that.
That doesn't happen.
Happen that often. No.
Ever. If it does, it's like, right, I'm one of these people, and I want a deal. I want. Forget the ticket price. Let's talk. So I don't find a lot of these dealers who all their stock is sale or return. The reason it's sale or return as well is because they can't convince or get through to the owner of the car that actually your car isn't worth what you want
think
for it.
Yeah. What you hope to dear God it's worth.
Exactly. So what they do is they think, right, I'm on a no loss here. I'm going to take an F12 TDF. I'm going to put it in my showroom so everyone thinks I've got an F12 TDF. Look at what kind of cars I deal in.
Yeah.
I'm going to put up for a price that the customer wants, which is ludicrous because the customer never knows more than the actual dealer. I mean, come on, this is my job.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't go to your manufacturing unit and tell you how to manufacture.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
I buy and sell cars.
Yeah.
So if I'm telling you your car's not worth what you want, then it's not worth what you want.
Yeah.
But some people just take it, that makes the showroom look nice, then they have to advertise it at an unrealistic price, which means they don't sell it.
Yeah.
Which then the customer calls me
and goes, "Carl, I need out of this, mate."
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're the one of the very few, if not only, most times, person who will write a check for a car, and when you say you'll pay X, Y, Z, that day I'm receiving X, Y, Z in my account.
That's cool.
So that's the way I feel. We're all in business to earn money. Yeah. That's the way I feel gives us an advantage on buying and selling cars because we own the cars, we price them right because we own them, and we can work on whatever profit margins we want.
Yeah.
And we're not dictated to by anybody. Say, Ferrari, for instance, they will say to their dealer, okay, a GTC 4 Lusso, we know is worth £100,000 behind cost, but you can't advertise it at that. You're going to ruin the market. The market's already ruined.
Yeah.
So it's my car. I can advertise it at what I want.
Yeah.
So it's just we're freelance.
Cool. It's interesting, man.
Yeah.
It's good. Now, I'm not sure if any of you guys follow Carl on Instagram. I'll put a link below to your account. One thing that also is highlighted and backs up what you're saying is Carl sort of uses a lot of your stock.
It's hard not to.
If you tune in to Carl's Instagram, I mean, last week you were spending time in a 599 GTO, which I think you only bought last week.
I can't
help
get
himself.
out that car. I can't
Well,
get
they're
out that
special
car.
things,
Yeah.
special sounds.
Yeah.
I think I would refer to the sound of that car as a sexual trumpet. Because the sound of them is particularly like downshifts.
Yeah.
On the overrun, they sound amazing, but the downshift of that V12
Well,
is
what
amazing.
that car, the previous owner is quite a good friend of mine, and we've done a lot of business together. And he doesn't modify his cars, but he tweaks them slightly.
Right.
So what he done with that car is, as you know, in the exhaust of that car, it's got like what I call a butterfly valve.
Yeah.
So at 4,000 revs, the valve opens and it's straight through.
Yeah.
So they're constantly open now at all times.
Amazing.
He's just opened them. So that sound you get at 4,000 revs, you just get that
So
constantly.
it sounds like cold start all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah, and like you say, downshifts is just...
They're exceptional, aren't they? Yeah, very special. So yeah, as a result, you also inadvertently get to promote your cars because you can use them. Whereas if it was an SOR car, you can't because it's a client's car.
You know, and I think it's a better thing as well because I spend so much time in so many different cars that if a new car comes out and a guy calls up and he wants to buy it and he asks me, what are these cars like?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I've never driven one.
Never driven one. Yeah.
You know?
You'd be amazed at how many salesmen I come across who have never stepped foot in the car they're actually selling. It's quite amazing, actually.
Do you know what?
But I empathize and I respect the scenario because a lot of the cars are.
Well, they haven't got a choice.
Exactly. That's right.
They've got to do the best with what they've got.
Yeah.
Which is you know, hey, that's life.
Absolutely.
But you know, in order to be, I think, successful in sales, you've got to know your product. People want to find out from you what this product is. If you don't tell them what they want to hear or what it really is about, then they're not going to buy from you.
This is true. Yeah.
You know, I want to buy this table.
guess
Where
so.
was it made? I don't know.
I don't know.
But if you tell me it was made from one sheet of aluminium and it was crafted in Italy and it took 3 months to craft, now I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be expensive. Yeah. You know,
First
you
thought,
know?
what kind of deal can I do?
Yeah. I'd love to give you automatically have a price in your head what you want to give for it. If you was like, I don't know, I think John got it from down the road.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, I don't even want it now.
So in essence, you can't effectively provide the best product insight or service.
These are not glass figurines. These cars.
No.
They're cars with engines and wheels and gearboxes, and they're meant to be moving.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll talk about flippers market and speculation market shortly. Okay. I want to go back again.
All right.
To leaving school at 12, homeschooled. Can you remember the age you sold your first car?
Yeah, I remember the car.
No way.
Yeah, I remember the car. I remember the age. So I actually bought my first car before I sold my first car.
Okay.
But it both happened the same day.
What do you mean?
So, okay.
Go on.
So it's I think I should tell this story. I might get arrested for it.
Well, tell it, and if it's
I'm
terrible,
gonna tell it anyway.
then I'll edit it out.
Yeah. So it's too late now. I think you get like a 10 years.
This is a science fiction story anyway. This didn't happen.
Yeah. So allegedly.
Yeah.
So it was in 2001. It was an M3 E46 2001 on a Y.
Okay.
Silver car.
Yeah.
With Laguna Seca interior.
Bold.
And it was SMG.
Bold car.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, guy was based in central London. At the time, they were making like a little bit over list. So the cost of the car would be about 42 grand back then. And they were making mid 40s, sometimes high 40s, you know. So the car was brand new. It'd done, I don't know, 100 miles or something. I bought the car for £1,000 over list.
Okay.
So in 2001, I'm 32 this month. I was born in 87. 2001, I was 14.
Okay.
It was August 2001.
So you sold your first car 14.
Because in September was the 51 plate.
Okay.
It was August 2000.
I love how this is still in your mind.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Do you know what? How many cars have I sold over the years? Thousands.
Thousands.
I can't remember one I'd done 3 days ago, but I remember this car.
Yeah.
And I bought the car, and but it was one of them. I used to go and have a look at cars on behalf of my dad, and then call him up and say, right, Dad, you know, there's a scratch here, there's this here, there's that. And he used to say, okay, well, you know, bid the guy this much and tell him we need to spend this much on it because of the scratch. Show him what's wrong with it or whatnot. So I never really properly bought my own first deal until this deal, you know?
Okay.
So bought the car, when I bought the car, it was, I'm 14 years old. It's an M3 E46. Like it's.
I think I know what's coming. Go on.
So I drove the car home.
I knew it.
Yeah, I drove the car home. So I said to a driver that I had at the time, I can't even remember his name, but I said, look, my uncle lives around the corner. He's gonna come and drop me off home tonight. I said, so you just leave now, and because I knew he'd tell me dad. Yeah. So I said, you just leave now, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Yeah, okay, no problem. So I've waited 10 or 15 minutes, but 10 or 15 minutes when you're waiting to do something is like 2 minutes.
Eternity. Yeah.
So I probably waited 2 minutes. So I'm in the car now. All of a sudden, I've passed him on the M40.
In the same driver you just sent
he
home?
must have pulled over for fuel or for a wheel or something. Anyway, I passed him on the M40. Now he's followed me home. We've gone into the gate together. And he's like, Carl, what are you doing? So I was like, what? So he said, you're not old enough to drive. I was like, I am, I'm 18. So he said, no, you're not, your brother's 18, because my brother's 4 years older than me. Your brother's 18, you're about 12. Because obviously, when I was 14, I looked about 12 or 7. And then my dad came out and there was all riots broke loose. But on the way home, I actually sold the car to earn £1,500. I sold it to...
On the drive home?
On the drive home.
Amazing.
On the drive home. So that day was my first proper deal.
Yeah.
Bought the car and sold it to earn £1,500. So I sold it to sit in a BMW.
That's strong at 14.
Yeah.
1,500 quid at 14 must have felt like 15 grand. Like,
well,
or more.
Yes and no, because I've been doing it now for a couple of years.
Okay.
And
so you're aware of the margins and profits, etc. But this was your deal. This is your first.
Yeah, this was the one that
your deal.
No one got a phone call. No one got a, what do you think? Can you help me out? What should I do?
Yeah.
It was my decision, my deal.
That's cool.
Done it, sold it, done.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I remember my dad going on to me, going like, what are you going to do if you get pulled over and blah, 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 blah. You shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, look, I've sold it to have 1,500 quid. And he's like, oh, well, that was good.
Well done. Same time next week.
And since then, I'm not going to say I used to do it all the time, but I obviously bought and sold a lot of cars between the age of 14 and 17. So that did occur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Occasionally.
So going from BMs to, what's your first major standout big boy super or hypercar?
Oh dear.
Or after that, did it all just blend into? Because your first time's your first time, isn't it?
Yeah. After that, it just doesn't really make any difference, does it? Really.
Right.
There's no deal that really sticks in my head that I could say, that was the car I sold for the most money or whatever. Because I've sold cars for, 5, 6, 7 million pounds.
Crazy,
and the company sold cars for 20 million pounds or more.
Yeah.
It's much of a muchness, it's a car, it's a deal. And
So
as soon as that's done, it's on to the next one. It's forgot about.
Next thing. So in this world, obviously we won't name names, but you and I both know this world is full of characters.
Yeah.
The stories alone of some
come
deals.
to my office for a week and you'll meet most of them.
See it will come through.
Yeah.
So you once started telling me a story about you going out in a car and not coming back in the same car.
So this used to happen quite a lot.
Right.
So when I was younger, growing up, obviously you're young, you go out, and as you go out, Birmingham is quite although it's the UK's second largest city, it's really small when you get there. You see the same crowd in the same places. People love their cars in Birmingham, and I remember going out a lot younger. I'm 18, 19, whatever. Every weekend I'm going out.
Actually got a driving license now.
I'm perfectly legal to go out. And I used to go in mind, not to go out as in, right, I'm really looking forward to going out tonight and partying and blah, blah, blah. I'm going out thinking, right, I'm going to go to this club tonight because I know him and him are going. Yeah. And there's a deal to be done here somewhere. So I'm going to take a Murcielago, whatever it would have been back in the day.
Yeah.
Because, when you get, every city's the same, when you get in a syndicate of people like that, they all want to outdo each other. Yeah. So if I had the first Murcielago, it's going.
Someone wants it.
It's going. They want to be seen in the first one. So I used to go in a car, park the car outside the club, give the guy in the door 20 quid, and have a night in there. Sometimes you sell a car, sometimes you wouldn't. Most of the time I would.
That's
but
bonkers.
this one time, I went, and there was I had this table in the club, and over there was some friends that I know. So there's 4 or 5 of us, 4 or 5 of them. And outside is like a car show. This is when Birmingham was really in its heyday. It was 355s, 360s, Murcielagos, Glados, whatever you want. They're all there.
Scattered down the road.
They're all there. And I'd done a deal with a guy, and I took his car in part exchange. No money's changed hands, by the way, but I know them very well. So I said, okay, right, do you want that car? Yeah, okay, deal, done. There's the keys. He's giving me the keys to his car. Right, I'm going home in another car. Okay, that's not too bad. That happens now and again. Whilst I was in the club, I actually sold his car to somebody else in the club. Once again, a guy I know really well. Okay, done. Pay me on Monday. Yeah, okay, no problem. There's the keys. Take it home.
That actually happened.
And I was like, right, I've got to get a cab home now. So
Solid night.
Yeah, good night.
As a spot of context, when I was 18, I used to work in a nightclub, collecting glasses and cleaning the toilets.
Well, there you go.
So your story is a little bit more inspiring, if I'm honest with you. It makes me feel terrible.
Well, it's there's good and bad stories from doing that kind of thing, but yeah.
Vega. So look, you mentioned that the first car you sold had a slight premium on it.
Yeah.
We're in an interesting place in the car world now where, funnily, as of this recording, I think we'll both agree that the car world is in a funny place in that we've just come off the back of riding this 10-year wave of bonkers premiums. Mm-hmm. They're still there in the right new cars, but we're also on the way down for reasons, God knows what. We'll look back on this in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. We're on the precipice of Brexit, maybe not happening.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk politics because that's boring, and we're here to talk about cars. But flippers market, talk to me about that. Because I've bought cars where, I always buy cars because I like the car. I never bought on a car to speculate, and it's a good job because I normally lose on them. But some of the cars you must have seen over the last 10 years where they've, take, for example, let's look at the cars right in front of us. We've got Bugatti Veyron. Over there, we have a 458 Speciale, and I believe you have a Zagato in right now.
Yeah, and we have a Zagato Volante in at the minute, yeah.
Premiums on Speciale, when those cars came out, 90 grand over list? Like that?
Look,
yeah.
Flippers, as they're called,
they
get a lot of stick from people. And no one understands someone's situation at a time. Sometimes people don't sell a car when they've got it because just for the premium.
Sure.
Circumstances in their life could have changed.
Absolutely.
The car could have come 6 months too late than what they originally told it was, and now they don't want the car.
Yeah.
So, there's all different stories, and people get tarnished. Oh, you're a flipper, you should be blacklisted. Yeah. Look, I'm a massive fan of a flipper.
Flipper's your best friend.
Flipper's my best friend because, our business is based on selling cars you can't get or selling cars that show incredible value. So a car that was 300,000 last year is now 200,000, Yeah. Or a car that cost 200,000 but it's now 3 because you can't get them.
That's it.
So that's my market.
Yeah.
So not every flipper is due to being greedy and wanting the cash. But we have rode this crazy wave of 911Rs going for 300% over list.
Are you for real?
Yeah. 550,000, 575,000 I've sold 911Rs for.
And now they're
but,
in the twos, aren't they?
I think everyone knew that, that car's a great car, but,
Well, my car behind us is effectively, arguably it has this isn't arguably, but it has the better engine. It's like an actual derived from a cup car engine, and it's a manual gearbox. You can spec it up to, I think, almost as light as a 911R, I think so. And so when Porsche launched that car, everyone was like, oh, that's probably the last manual car that Porsche will make, because they'd launched the 991 Gen 1 GT3, which was only available as a twin clutch box. And then halfway through that life cycle, they're like, we're going to make a limited edition manual one. When they said they were going to discontinue manuals as of the 997, when RS4 litres, right-hand drive, are going for 500 grand. And then they didn't. And then they started making cars like that.
Manufacturers play a bigger part in people flipping cars than what the actual flippers do.
Because of the hype.
They build up to it. They're like, right, we're going to do this special model, like you say.
Yeah.
We're going to make a 911R. It's going to be last naturally aspirated, manual, rear-wheel drive Porsche that you're ever going to be able to buy ever.
Yeah.
And we're only making, how many of them? 500 of them or something, is it?
I think they made one of them.
Yeah, no, sorry, 911 of them.
Yeah.
So, we're limiting it. So automatically, everyone, even if you don't want one,
Everyone wants one.
you want one because you know this is going to be big money over this. They're never going to recreate this car until a year later, and they brought out a GT3 Touring.
Yeah.
Which looks the same, and you can get in manual, and it is 130 grand.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
I done a video for Supercar Driver one day when a 911R first came out. I had a Carrera GT that was a 9,000 kilometer European Carrera GT, and one of their subscribers, who was also a customer of mine, just took delivery of his new 911R.
Okay.
And they were the same price retail.
I mean, in what world?
They were 550,000. They were the same price. This isn't going back too long ago.
No, it's not that long ago.
And the whole scenario of the video and in the mag and stuff was, what would you rather have? And I said to the guy off camera, I said, you want to sell that car, I said, you want to buy the Carrera GT.
Yeah.
So he said, what do you mean? I said, what? How much have you got in that car? 180 grand?
Yeah.
Like, that's how much you've got in it?
Yeah.
He said, yeah. I said, at the time I asked him for £50,000 to change from that car to a Carrera GT. I said, I guarantee you a Carrera GT will go up 20% in the next 3 years. Yeah. He was like, don't be mad, don't be mad, don't be mad. What happened?
And the rest?
A 911R is now 300 grand.
Yeah. At best.
And, at best.
Yeah, at best.
And a Carrera GT is 3/4 up to $1 million.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Don't talk to me about that Carrera GT car.
But that's just an example of,
no, it is, absolutely.
The manufacturer playing up to these people. And they say, oh, we'll get upset if you sell the car. These people are the reason that everyone wants one of these cars because they're gone in a second.
Yeah, it's true. This is it. But now, so this is an interesting time now because I'm feeling that we're going the other way. We're sort of dropping off the cliff. Manufacturers are making too many cars.
Too many special editions.
Special editions.
Exactly.
In
to build
commas.
up to the flippers market.
Yeah, it's berserk, man. I mean, I remember when a good supercar had a solid life cycle, 7 years.
Yeah.
Think about the Murcielago and the Gallardo.
Yeah.
10-year life cycle on that car.
Yeah.
Now,
even an Aventador.
Yeah, Aventador's a long.
2011.
That's a strong.
They're still making them now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're rare now. I mean, you got facelift after special edition after Spider version.
I mean, the SVJ is just such a con.
I think it's I don't think it's a shame they made the car. I think it's a shame that they made it in the numbers they're making it.
It's a shame they used the J.
Yes.
Because I had the conversation with someone the other day. Think of the cars and the numbers of cars that have been made that Lamborghini have made bearing the letter J.
With a J, yeah.
Miura.
Super rare. Yeah.
Diablo.
Did they do a Diablo J?
Yeah.
God, there must have been like 6 of them.
Oh, there wasn't many. There wasn't many.
Wow.
But that's what I'm saying. There were 6 of them.
Yeah,
the Miura, I think there was 3. Miura SVJs.
SVJs. Wow.
And then you've got 900 coupes in an SVJ, 600 roadsters in an SVJ.
And 63 specials
that they're
of each.
owning up to.
Well, this is the other thing.
I remember when a Murcielago SV was numbered.
Yes.
Number 36, number 132. These cars are not numbered anymore.
No, they're not, no. They're one of, aren't they?
One of
3,000.
One of shitloads.
one of a truckload full.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but I think the ecosystem and the clients are starting to wise up to it because in what world would an SVJ 6 years ago not be going for 90, 80 grand over list? Now they're list, if not discounts.
They're discounts.
Discounts.
Yeah.
Right.
I could supply anyone today with a new or nearly new SVJ at a discount from list.
Bonkers, isn't it? And we're in a right-hand drive market. So think what the left-hand drive market's like.
Where there's more of them.
Yeah. It's scary, man. So in a weird way, going back to the speculators and the flippers market, those people aside where circumstances change and they need to get out of it, fair enough. I'm hoping this really affects the flippers market and it frees up allocations of build slots for people who actually want to drive the car. So this week I was online looking for a Weissach pack Gen 2 GT3 RS. And they've just released a second production wave of these cars. And I mean, my dealer, I think they got allocated an extra 3, so they're super rare. You go on Piston Test, there's like 5 of them, you know, and they're £250,000. Now, these cars are 180 at best, you know, and I'm like, who's buying a Weissach pack GT3, bearing in mind they are limited, they're hard to get hold of, and putting it out there straight away? There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of everything out there.
Yeah, and it's such a shame for someone who wants to just go and rag the Nürburgring in one and really use it, who missed out on a slot, you know, versus those who have just decided to get one because they can, because they might have ordered 20 Cayennes on Fleet, you know what I mean? On Fleet, and then gone, oh yeah, I'll take that, and then flip it. Yeah, it's an odd one. There's no right or wrong because, as you say,
it's what keeps the world going round.
It is.
It's what keeps the world going round. If every car was sold to an end user who kept it for a year or 12 months or 2 years or whatever, I'd be skint.
Up the creek, as it were. Yeah.
So I need these guys to want to sell the cars.
Yeah.
Like I say, not all of them have that in mind.
Right.
But you know how many phone calls I get from people, and I'm pretty blunt and straightforward because I don't like educating people on business, because I've had to find out the hard way. I've had to make mistakes and find out what's good, what's bad, and what's not. So someone just thinks, oh, you know what, I'm going to call up Carl and ask him what this is worth.
Yeah.
And not even offer him to buy it. So I get phone calls all the time from people saying, hi, how you doing? Yeah, my name's John Smith, and I can get a Aston Martin Valkyrie. I can get the order's done. How much money will you now give me?
So they offer you their slot.
They've offered me a slot that's 2 years away from being done. So you don't even want to take a chance for your money. Like you don't even want to take any kind of chance.
Yeah.
And I get offered things like that all the time. And one thing I say to people is, look, if you can't give me a chassis number or a delivery date within 3 weeks of this conversation, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And you know, you'll be amazed how many people come back with a chassis number. 0.
Really?
What they're trying to do is think, right, should I order this car?
Right. Yeah.
Let me see how much I can make of it now. Those people get on my nerves.
I bet.
You know, because
I'm
educating
time
them.
wasting as well.
A lot of them are car dealers.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, so
trying to sell to another car dealer.
No, just trying to find out what they're worth.
No.
Yeah. I had a dealer's number call me up. So obviously our phone system is like recorded, call screened, like everything. Yeah, you can't call me without me knowing where you are, where you live, what your wife's name is. Like I got everything. And I had a dealer's number call me up, pretending to be a private guy. Hi, I can't remember what car it was, some car. Yeah. And I actually said, is this such and such a dealer? Yeah. And he was like, no. I'm like, well, okay, well, your number's just come through. Your number's just come through on the phone, so I'm going to call you straight back. Yeah. Called them back. And it was there, and I was like, how embarrassing.
How embarrassing.
You know?
Oops.
So don't get me wrong. Yeah. I have a lot of friends in the car business that we bounce stuff off of each other and say, look, you know, you've got one of these cars. I'm about to take one in stock. Are they easy enough to shift? I haven't had one for a few months, and they'll say, I've got it lodged. I can't give it away. Yeah, yeah. Then you're like, okay, well, now I know to value it a bit harder than what I normally would. But you know, it's openly. You're openly talking.
Yeah, it's much better that way, surely.
Of course it is. You know, listen,
be transparent.
Just be in anything in life. Just be straight. Just be open about it.
So look, you just sold, and I'm not sure if it's a touchy subject yet or not, but you just sold your Veyron.
Yes, I have.
On that topic, do you still like cars?
Do you know what?
This is a weird question. Do you enjoy driving cars? Are you a petrol head?
Okay, so the answer to that question, before I owned my Veyron, I had that car for nearly 4 years. The answer to that question would be, I can come and go about them. Don't really care. I've never been attached to a car, but I was attached to that car, massively attached to that car. And I wasn't even really thinking about selling it, and then an opportunity arose where I could sell it for the right money, you know, what it was worth, and it would be a quick, simple, straightforward deal, which is not common to come across. you know.
Really?
Yeah, so, you know, and I'll always say this to somebody when I'm selling like a stock car, like when they say, what's the best deal? I'm like, okay, how easy is it going to be?
Right.
Is it subject to you putting your mother-in-law through finance?
Right, okay.
Or is it subject to, here's my card, it's in my hand, I give you a deposit?
So in a weird way, it's kind of like buying a house. It's like, is there a chain?
Exactly.
Will anyone fall through on this?
Exactly. So I need to get that established before I start talking numbers. I had a phone call and it was, look, I want to buy your car. Yeah. This is how much I want to pay. I've seen it. I know it's, you know,
it's good,
beautiful. They've seen, you know, obviously around London and stuff. I'm always in it.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like the right thing to do. But it's been one of them. I never have seller's remorse. You know, we've sold cars for £250,000 that are now worth £2.5 million. Cars for £2 million that are now worth 20. So, yeah. You know, you can never get seller's remorse, and I haven't. But it has sparked that love again for me for cars.
That's
because once it's gone, I miss it.
Where do you go? What do you swap a Chiron for? Like, where do you go from there? Like, I mean, equally, there's definitely an argument for you in your situation. Do you need a car?
Well, no.
Because in a way, you own 60 supercars. You own 60 super and hypercars. So do you need one?
No.
Equally, I mean, I'm in a fortunate place where manufacturers and brands, they give me cars all the time.
Okay.
And sometimes they give them to me for a long time. I mean, I've just had a Bentley Continental GT for 6 months. McLaren gave me a 720S for 3 months. And these cars, it's very nice to have. And to anyone listening, they're like, dream scenario. Mm-hmm. And it is, but honestly, after a while, it's like, I've made the content with it, because ultimately, they're not giving these cars to me for fun. No. They want me to give them exposure and reviews and content. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I've ticked all those boxes, all of the content's made, what's it like to live with, et cetera, et cetera. Now the benefit is putting miles on someone else's car. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I have no attachment to this car because I didn't spec it, I didn't choose it. Mm-hmm. The emotional journey of purchasing a car makes it yours. And after a while, I'm like, I'll just get in my car, which is so hard to wrap your head around, not being able. I mean, if someone gave you a supercar to stick on your drive, I found myself driving my own cars, which I paid for, will affect my own pocket, but I'm emotionally attached to them.
So this is why the Veyron meant so much to me. It wasn't so much the car. It was, for me, it was the achievement.
Interesting.
Like, I remember driving down the road one day with my wife, and at the time I owned one of my childhood favorite cars, which was a Lamborghini Countach. Cool. Just going back to my childhood for a second.
Absolutely.
When kids used to watch The Little Mermaid or The Lion King or whatever, I used to go to bed and want to watch The Cannonball Run with John Candy.
As soon as you said Countach, I was like,
the black Countach was, for me, that's a lovely car, isn't it? That is lovely.
19 plate.
That's really nice.
For anyone listening to the audio and not the visual, a very nice, I think that looks like a pearlescent white.
Yeah, that's a pearlescent white.
Super fast.
With a factory grey stripe.
That's a beautiful car.
Yeah, that's lovely. So I used to watch the Cannonball Run.
Yes.
Over and over and over and over and over and over, and the two birds driving the black Countach, like that was it for me. Like that was the dream. That was it. So an opportunity came up where I was offered a 4,000 mile, one owner from new, Countach 5000S, which is the one I wanted. Didn't want a QV, did not want an anniversary.
Okay.
Wanted the 5000S with a spoiler in black, which UK supplied. It's like, I can't believe this. And then I was like, I bet this has done like 1 million kilometers, because they're all in kilometers.
Of course.
And I said, okay, how many miles has it done? It's like 4,000 miles, 6,000 kilometers. I paid stupid money over the odds because I was thinking with my heart and my head, bought the car and drove it once, and it was the worst driving experience I've ever had in my life. I'll never do that again. Like they are categorically the worst.
They do say don't meet your heroes.
It's the worst car I've ever driven in my life. I loved owning it. All my friends loved the car.
They've got those absurdly offset driving positions.
Can't see a thing.
Yeah, terrible.
Forwards or backwards.
Yeah.
You just can't see a thing.
And even when you do get them rolling dynamically, I mean,
you need to be 5'7" with extremely long legs.
I mean,
how's that work?
I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but I'm not sure that fitted you too well.
No, it didn't fit me. I am 5'7", but
okay.
My legs are a bit shorter. So anyway, I'm driving along with my wife, and I just agreed to sell this Countach. And I done really well. I actually doubled my money on the car in 2 years.
Wow.
And I paid a stupid price for it, but it was the best.
You just wanted it, yeah.
And the same reason when I sold it, the guy wanted the best. So it just shows you the best will always make the best money.
Yeah.
And driving along the road, and I said to my wife, I was 27. I said to my wife, I said, by the time I'm 30 years old, I said, I'm going to have a Veyron as my daily car, as my usable car.
And actually your car.
Yeah. Obviously, I bought and sold 1 million Veyrons.
Sure.
But, you know, I wanted, it's not for sale, it's my car. And 8 months later, I bought this Veyron.
That's berserk.
So I gave myself 2.5 years, and 8 months later, I had this Veyron.
That's amazing, eh?
The story that went along with it just added to why I was so emotionally attached to this car.
Yeah.
Done a few naughty things in tracking someone's number down who owned the car from somewhere. They shouldn't have gave me his number, but they did.
Yeah.
And the guy got very, very, very offensive when I called him out the blue and said, all right, mate, do you want to sell your car?
Yeah.
Russian guy, UK based.
Yeah.
Couldn't speak a word of English. Long story short, tried to buy the car for a month or so. Then I was offered the car by Bugatti Germany. This car was not on the market.
How weird.
But I was offered the car then by Bugatti Germany. So I was like, this car must be, this guy must want to sell this car. He's told me he doesn't want to sell it, but he must want to sell it. So I
Or he's tried to tell you in Russian.
Yeah. So I called the guy again, and he was rambling on, and he was with like his translator or someone who spoke English.
Okay.
So I said, look, I'm not a time waster. I've been given your number through a mutual friend that we have, which I was. I want to buy this car. I like the colour. It was the colour that done it for me. Yeah. I could have bought 10 different cars.
Sure.
I wanted that one.
Yeah.
UK supplied and the colour. And the guy put the phone down. I put an offer to him. He never even said anything. He just put the phone down. He called me back at 5 o'clock that night. It was a Friday night. 5 o'clock that night in February.
Right.
He called me back and he said, I won't mention the name, but Mr. Blogs, should we say, said if you are interested in buying his car, he'll see you this evening in Vienna.
This evening?
Yeah, in Vienna.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So at the time, I had a 991 Turbo S, which, by the way, is the most incredible car in the world.
Yeah.
To get from A to B.
They're amazing, aren't they?
Is just amazing.
Yeah,
What a car. And I've got my debit card and my passport.
Okay.
And I'm driving this
went.
car, and I don't know which airport I'm going to, where I'm going. I'm on the phone to my PA, and I'm like, get me a flight tonight. I need to get to Vienna. Because I'm thinking, if I can't get there, I'm just going to drive there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a Turbo S. Like,
I'll make it.
I can do this. Anyway, got me a flight from Stansted. Got to Stansted, got on an airport, landed at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Got to the Kopinski Hotel, which is where the car was kept, in the middle of Vienna.
Which is beautiful.
So whenever I'm at the airport, they've picked me up in this Mercedes V-Class.
Tell me it was blacked out.
Blacked out. This guy's in there with 2 bodyguards.
This is becoming more and more like a Bond film.
Yeah.
This is why Carl is on the show.
But I am absolutely shitting
Bricking
myself
it.
at this point. Like, I'm like, I don't know this guy. I don't know what I'm doing here. You know, I'm ready to send someone some money very quickly, but
just to get out of here.
It could be for ransom. Not a Veyron. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, like I like to have a good time. So I like to. I'm not all formal, as obviously you can. You've, from the times that we've spent with each other, you can tell.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to this guy, and he can't speak a word of English, but we're getting on, although we can't communicate with each other. So we've got these 2 bodyguards that took me downstairs in this hotel, which I found out afterwards was his.
His hotel?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He owned the building that let out to the Kopinski.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's the car. He's pulled the cover off. As soon as I've seen it, I'm like, oh, yes. So the translator was there, and he said, if you're true to your word, Mr. Blogs is happy to shake your hand. So he's put his hand out, shook his hand, deal done.
Amazing.
So he said to me, in his Russian hand language way, let's go for a drink. So I'm like, I think I need one.
This sounds like a night.
I think I need one. Anyway, 4 o'clock in the morning, was up to drinking vodka shots, 4 o'clock in the morning. The next morning, all I wanted to do was get out of Dodge. I just wanted to get in this car and to get out of Vienna. I wanted to pay this guy, but then again, I didn't want to pay him. I wanted the keys because I thought, I'm going to pay this guy and he's just going to send one of his bodyguards.
In his basement.
Yeah, whatever. the guy was 1,000,000%. So, I mean, never judge a book by his cover. He was just such the nicest guy in the world. I sent the money.
Amazing.
He didn't believe that I was going to send the money.
You serious?
Yeah, you know, his translator said to me afterwards, like, he didn't think that
would happen.
it would happen as, you know, as easily and as swiftly as that.
Yeah.
I had the money, and I drove home, and I drove the car. So now I'm in this Veyron. That I'm
you drove it home from Vienna.
Yeah, so I'm absolutely
cool.
buzzing that I'm now in this car. Yeah. Because for me, it's like, out of all the Veyrons that we've had for business, this is like,
bonkers. Yeah.
This is it for me.
Right.
And like, I feel like I've reached a goal in my life. You know, I said I wanted to do this. I said I wanted to do this, and fuck yeah, I done it.
Here it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm driving through the Alps. I'm driving, and I don't know where I'm going. I have no clue where I'm going. So I'm thinking that, do I want to drive this car back? You know, I'm going to put so many more miles on it. It's snowing at this point. It's February.
Of course, it's February.
Yeah. What do I do?
Perfect.
So I'm calling a few friends of mine. I'm like, right, do you know anybody in Switzerland, in France, in Germany,
wherever,
anywhere that I can leave this car with? So one guy's called me and he's like, yeah, look, he's a mate of a mate.
This is a good start.
He's a mate of a mate.
I know this bloke.
He lives in Munich.
Right.
Take it to Munich. Honestly, he said, put the car down to me. He's 1,000,000%. So I said, okay, no problem. Turned up at this guy's.
So random.
Turned up at this guy's house in Munich, who I've never met before. He was an English guy, so that helped.
Okay.
Because I thought, if this guy
no
can't
more
speak
language
English,
barriers.
how weird is this going to be? All right, mate. Here's the key to my Bugatti. You know. So I turned up at this guy's house and like had a bit of chat with him. He seemed a nice guy. I had a few nice cars as well. And I stored it with him for like 3 weeks until I could get the transport company to pick the car up. But I done, like, it was like 600 kilometers from Vienna to Munich in the snow. So I went down the Autobahn, which was great, it wasn't snowing then. It was only when I got into Munich it was snowing.
Right.
I'm going down the Autobahn and I've been in the car now for about an hour and a half. So I'm proper familiar
with the car.
With the car and you know, so I'm like, right.
Let's have it.
Let's see what this has got. So blipped it a few times, like just to feel it. And I was like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. You know, I don't know if you've ever driven a Veyron at high speeds.
No, I've driven a Chiron at high speed.
Well, it's the same.
That's a very similar thing.
I mean, it's just the
I've
noise.
driven a Veyron, but not high speed.
Yeah, the turbo noise and everything. It's just amazing. It's like, it's not even like driving any car I've ever driven.
No, they're such a unique. It's all intake, isn't it?
Yeah,
It sounds
just
like
turbos.
It sounds like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Like dragging a fat cigar. Doesn't it? It's just like it's an amazing thing.
Yeah. So I'm driving down the Autobahn and next thing you know, up my arse, I've got like an S-Class Merc. And I'm doing like 160. Yeah. And I've got this, it's on my, it ain't behind me, it's on my bumper.
Like, get out of the way, Carl.
So I'm like, I'm not pulling over for no S-Class, I'm in a Veyron. I put my foot down and this is the fastest I've ever been in a car.
Right.
And I can't tell you how fast it was because I don't know. But I know when I got to 200 miles an hour, I seen it get to 200.
Yeah.
And I then took my eyes off the speedo and just concentrated on the road.
Yeah.
And my foot was down flat for another maybe 5-6 seconds.
Yeah.
And the difference between 200 and where I finally got to might have been 215, might have been 220. It felt like double the speed.
It's unreal.
You know?
Isn't it? When you go past that
when
barrier,
you go past 200,
things
it's
are
almost
amplified.
it's like warp speed.
Yeah.
And I slowed down. I took my foot off the accelerator and just, now I'm like one hand on the steering wheel doing like 170 because it just
feels so much slower.
It just felt like I was going at no speed.
Yeah.
And this S-Class is up my arse again.
Still on it.
Flashing me. Anyway, so I pulled over. As I pulled over, there's these two guys dressed in suits. They're having a chat as they're coming past me.
Yeah.
Like just like having a conversation. And they're just bombing down this road. I like had to pull over for a cigarette. Like I was having a nervous breakdown at that point.
You'd just been out in a fighter jet.
Yeah, just a complete bag of nerves, you know.
Amazing.
But yeah, there's so many stories I had with that car that just amounted not to so much owning the car, but there were memories that I had.
Yeah.
It was almost like being with, you know, having a first wife or something, you know.
Yeah.
And okay, it ended in divorce.
A lot of the times
we had some good times. Do you know what I mean?
It's not always the car being a good car, it's what you've done in it.
Yeah.
So I've only ever regretted selling 2 cars. Mm-hmm. Okay. One was I bought a BMW 1M
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And that car came off the back of me crashing and writing off a 430 Scuderia, right? To the detriment, I was quite young at the time, and my insurance was just like, forget it, mate. Like, give yourself a break, go and buy something sensible. And the 1M had launched, and I was like, sounds good, sounds quick and entertaining enough. I'll just take it. Transpired, it's one of the best cars I've ever driven, one of the best cars I've ever owned. I did 25,000 miles in it, and I got back what I paid for it.
Yeah, which makes it even nicer.
Which makes it even nicer. And I literally furnished my house because I was buying this house, and I was like, I need to get some cash out to furnish the house. So I sold this 1M, and fair enough, I furnished the house, but that car is such a wicked little package.
Yeah.
And even since the M2's launch, it's not the same. It's like...
Well, that's the original, isn't it?
Yeah, but the 1M is such a parts bin special because it was like made of M3 and M4 parts.
Yeah.
You know, so they're like, 1 Series chassis, let's stick some M
Great
suspension
chassis,
on it.
that's the thing
Mega
with that
chassis, and it was just a little animal, short the
Yeah,
wheelbase.
pocket rocket.
That was a great car, and it came off the back of unfortunate circumstances, which turned out to be great. You know.
Yeah.
And the second one, and I've never spoken about this on camera because I know my audience is like, told you so, was my last Speciale. And the irony of that is that was my second Speciale because I missed my first one so much. But I sold out of that because I bought this place and I needed some cash. And at the same time, I bought an F12 TDF.
Yeah.
That wasn't the car. It was the
So
things
you
I did
sold a
with it.
Speciale because you needed some cash but bought a TDF.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't have sold it if it was like I would have kept the Speciale and the TDF if it wasn't for this place.
Yeah, of course.
But I was like, this is an opportunity. I should do it, and I can't justify the TDF and this and a Speciale and all the rest of the stuff that's going on at that time.
It's the same as anything. You can't, no one's got all the funds in the world.
No.
You know, and
That's it.
you know, you have to make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
You've done the unthinkable thing of sacrificing a Speciale for a TDF. I mean, I don't know how you can sleep at night.
It's not that. It was going back to your point. It's the memory associated with the car.
Of course. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Speciales, there's 2 here.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a problem. If you wanted to get another Speciale, that Speciale, I sent it to Dubai, and I had these amazing adventures with that car. You know, I did 10,000 miles in it. I mean, you know, to take your UK registered right-hand drive car around Abu Dhabi, like Yas Marina race circuit, right? That is amazing. Just driving it past the Shard. It's like such a juxtaposition of something you're so familiar with, so far from home, and driving it through the desert. You know, I got pictures with it next to camels in the desert. Like, it's just the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And it was also, and this is the thing that upsets me the most, it was the car that I gave to my best man when I got married.
Yeah.
And he drove it to the wedding,
Yeah.
you know. And so I've got all these really cool pictures of this car that I no longer have to get into a car, which I'm yet to do anything exciting with. So TDF, I need to send it somewhere and do some crazy adventures so I can offset that, you know.
You see, I always thought to myself, and you know, I suppose in me, it's the dealer and businessman that's in me rather than the real car enthusiast, which gets back to what we talked about earlier. You know, I had plans in my own head of taking my son to his first day of school in my Veyron. Do you know what I mean? Or collecting him, or you know. So it's things like that why I missed the car, and I think you know. I don't have seller's remorse. For me, I felt it was the right decision at the time. Whether that time was a minute long, which it probably was. I'm a very impulse person. It was the right decision at the time, and I stuck by it. And I'm one of them. I've always been brought up with, you know, the attitude of if you're going to do it, do it. You know, don't think about doing it. You can't have the car and the money. You know, you either keep the car, forget about it, or you sell it.
Yeah.
Do one or the other.
Binary, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
that's
that
the
black and
only way.
white.
It's like that's why we can make such an instant decision when we're buying your car.
Yeah.
Is this is what I want to pay? I'll pay it now.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not here tomorrow when you want to sell it. When you've called everyone else in the country and they won't buy it. I'm not here. It's now. Yeah. And that's what I'm like. You know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah.
And I made a decision. I sold the car. I feel like it was the right thing to do. But then I can think about it for 2 minutes and think, you know, I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah. I am generally, other than the emotional connection with cars, I don't look backwards that often.
No, you
Very
can't.
rarely. you can't do anything about it. It's done. You know, you can learn from it. And if
No
you're
one put a gun to your head.
that's right. And
So
if
you've
do,
done. At the end of the day, you've done what you've done for a reason.
That's it.
Because you felt it was the right thing to do. You're not going to do anything knowing this is the wrong thing to do. This is the wrong thing to do.
Of course not. Yeah. And ultimately, look, selling a car is not. I mean, look, it's resulted in a good thing.
Yeah.
But from the emotional connection to it, I'm like, man. And every now and again, because you know we're in this era now where every photo you've ever taken stays on your phone. You know?
Yeah.
And every now and again, I'll be flicking through trying to find a picture of something else, and I'll find a picture of that car, and I'm doing something really cool in a foreign land, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
looks so good.
my car's staying around London.
Cool.
That's where the owner lives.
So one day,
And
get my bike back.
yeah, and I will. I will
Will
have
you?
that car back.
Will you? That's
yeah,
cool.
Definitely.
Interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And he's promised me before. I mean, he's not going to sell it anytime soon.
Right. Okay.
But he's promised me when he does, I'm his first call.
Your first dibs.
And
Do you think it'll be a £2 million car then?
do you know what? I think that car, you know, it's such a crazy world, so I can't put a time on it. But I think you got things like a 250 GTO, a McLaren F1, and Veyron's next in line.
Yeah.
I really do.
I also feel it was the first of its kind.
That's why.
It was very much. I mean, look, that Chiron there exists because of that car.
Exactly.
You know, it was the blueprint and the foundation.
I've had the conversation loads. It was easy to build that Chiron
Yeah, absolutely.
because you took the blueprints of a Veyron and go, right, how can we make this better?
Let's tin it up a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a Veyron, it's like, right, we need a pencil.
The car, the category didn't exist then.
No.
And if it did in terms of speed, it definitely wasn't there in terms of okay, you can all of the performance in the world that you can take to Tesco. That was the major thing, really.
I used to take my car to the gym daily.
That's bonkers.
I used to drive it everywhere.
to the gym.
Yeah, to the
Rocking
gym
up to the
daily,
gym in a
yeah,
Veyron.
Yeah. Only this,
People must have hated
like
you.
this, like little, like weightlifters gym. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't no like David Lloyd's premium.
It was just some backstreet
Yeah, it's a gym I
spitting
go to
sawdust
now.
job.
It's a great gym, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is it's a real rough and ready gym, and that's the way I like it. And you know, I take all cars there now. I've took all sorts there.
Yeah.
And my enjoyment out of a car is like when you said earlier, you've got 60 cars essentially. Yeah. You can drive what you want when you want. I have the attention span of a goldfish. So some days I feel like, you know what, I haven't drove a nice car for a while. I'm going to take the P1 to the gym. It's 3 miles away. 3 miles there, 3 miles back. By the time I've got back, I've got it out of my system.
Yeah, it's your fix is catered for.
Exactly. I've got it out of my system. I don't necessarily need to go and do 1,000 miles on a road trip to enjoy it. I've enjoyed it. I've sat in traffic for 10 minutes. I've got it out of my system.
I've got it out of my system now.
Now I need to go to work. You know?
So outside of your love for the Veyron, and as a result of your environment being mostly treating cars as buying and selling, there must still be a car that you're like, yeah. Is it one of the big boy cars, or is there a car out there where you're just like, you know what, I just really love driving?
You know what? Since I'm going to let everyone into a little insight here, and you as well.
Go on.
This is first
exclusive content
on the full chat JWW insight. So the next car that I buy, everyone keeps asking what you're replacing it with, what you're replacing it with. Now I've got a few things in mind that I've mentioned to nobody.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to go something completely different because where do you go from a Veyron?
Well, this is it because it's in a category of its
Well,
own.
the main answer from that would be a Chiron. Okay, you love Bugatti as a brand, which I do. They make great cars. Chiron is the bigger and better version of a Veyron. I don't like the Chiron as much as a Veyron.
That's interesting. Do you know what is interesting about that? You're not the first owner, which I've heard say that.
Yeah.
It's very easy for people flicking through Instagram to be like, oh, Chiron.
It's a new thing
Latest
out,
greatest,
and
Chiron.
it's 500 more brake horsepower.
I've spoken to a fair few owners, amazingly, of Veyrons, and you know, even those that had them and don't have them, so they're not entirely biased, and they're all like, yeah, it's not the original.
It's not got. I've had Chirons. We've bought and sold a couple of Chirons, and I've drove them, and they're I mean, marvelous,
Berserk,
absolutely incredible car.
Yeah.
But you know what? It just doesn't feel like a Veyron.
It's interesting.
You know, it just doesn't feel like I've done a lot of miles in my Veyron. I've done 8,000 miles in my Veyron.
Did you?
Which is, for someone who owns a Veyron, quite a lot. People
absolutely.
don't use these cars. They're scared to use them. I don't know why. They're the most over-engineered car in the world.
They are bulletproof, aren't they?
These things are never going to go wrong.
Amazing.
And I just think, I almost feel like I'd be going backwards
Yeah.
in a
If you went
Chiron.
in a Chiron.
Yeah. So I'm going to go for something completely different.
Go on.
And nothing's finalised yet.
Okay.
But I'm on the lookout
Yeah.
for a very specific
Go on.
300 SL Gullwing.
That is different, and that is hyper cool.
Yeah, it's just
very cool.
It's just I've got to step away from hypers.
That's cool.
I've got to step away because I've done
Yeah.
that. And in
Okay.
my opinion, I've done the elite. I've done
Yeah.
the top notch. It was the fastest car in the world for how long?
I mean, up until
10, 12 years. It was the
few
fastest
years
car in the
ago.
world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which
Yeah, it was.
in the car world is like an eternity.
Eternity. Yeah.
It was incredible, and I just don't feel like anything's going to give me that buzz unless it's something completely opposite.
Completely different. Yeah.
So
You stepping into a classic. I never would have thought I'd have seen
look,
the day.
I know
man.
it's going to drive dreadful. Every classic drives dreadful.
It doesn't matter. When
I
you
just
get in
think
a car like
that's
that,
the
you
coolest
approach
car.
it with a different mindset.
Yeah.
You're not getting in it thinking how quick and what kind of lap time am I going to set
Yeah.
with this car.
I just want, I just love. I've had some great examples over the years that I've sold in today's market for absolute peanuts compared to what they're worth.
Yeah.
But it's just to look at. It's one of my all-time favorite cars.
They are stunning, aren't they?
They're similar-ish money to a Veyron as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're like $1 million or
Yeah.
a touch more for a good one. And
That's of an age which is going to definitely hold solid, if not go up as well.
I think, how cool are you for you and your wife to go somewhere in a black 300 SL?
I mean, black, red leather.
Black, red leather, red
mate,
suitcase.
Yeah, that's the one. You got to
red
have the
suitcase,
suitcases in the back.
The tartan
Yeah.
cushions.
Yeah.
Just,
That's as cool as it gets.
I'm not even going to lock the door
Yeah.
because the locks don't work. Like,
Yeah.
mate, there's the
That's as
keys.
cool as it
You
gets.
do well if you can start it. But
Amazing.
I'm going to go more down that path. I think.
Beautiful thing, yeah.
You said to me earlier, Carl, why do you even want to buy anything else?
Well, you just took the words out of my mouth again. It's not like you're not going to be able to have access to other
Yeah,
stuff.
so I don't know even if that's the case, but that's in the back of my mind, and that's the route. I could come back with something
Completely
of
different.
the same category,
Yeah.
but completely different.
Absolutely.
A DB4 or a DB5 or something like that. But I don't love them.
SL's
I
cool.
love a 300 SL,
300 SL's cooler. Gullwing.
and I don't like the Roadster.
No. Gullwing. It's got to have really the doors are the most iconic feature of it.
I think the roof is the most iconic feature
Beautiful
of
thing.
it.
Beautiful
When you stand behind that car,
Yeah.
and you look at the roof, it's actually got a roof scoop that goes into the back of the car, like an outlet for aerodynamics. No one's ever seen that until I tell you that it's got it. You
Right.
never look at it, and then you look at it, and the way the roof comes up from the back wings,
Yeah.
it's just
sculpture of it.
I think it's absolutely amazing.
I know this is a super cliche statement, but they really don't make them like
They don't
they
make
used
them
to,
like they used to.
you know.
That
Phenomenal
car
thing.
will do 155 miles an hour in 1956.
No thanks. I wouldn't fancy doing it, but cool.
No way. Well,
Yeah.
you never stop with them drum
No,
brakes.
I know drum brakes as well. But that's the thing, isn't it? You're approaching it with a different mindset and a
Yeah.
completely different experience, and that's cool. That is
It's
nice.
just I call it a turn-up car.
Yeah.
You turn up in
yeah,
that car.
you arrive in.
You don't drive it
Here
there.
I am.
You
you
drive your
arrive
other
in it.
car there. You get
You
500
arrive.
yards away from the destination, and then you turn up
Yeah.
in the 300 SL.
Brilliant. I
And
like
you
that.
never use the suitcases.
No, they're just there
because
for
it's cost
show.
you 15 grand to restore it. so that's just
Yeah.
there full
They
time.
straps down
Yeah,
permanently.
it doesn't even open.
No. Mega.
So
So what's next for Carl Hartley or Hartleys in general?
well, the business is expanding and expanding and expanding as the years go on, which we've always done. The new showroom that we've just built, I keep calling it the new showroom. We've been in it now for 6 months, so it needs to just really be called the showroom. But
Yeah, it's still new. It's still fresh.
yeah,
it's great.
Our
great
new
place.
showroom has given us a lot more opportunity to stock more cars and give someone a different environment in order to buy a car. I mean, it's just compare it to like here.
Yeah.
You've got this lovely lounge and these lovely desks and chairs and coffee machines and stuff. People are not coming here they're not getting a car wash vibe, are they?
No, no, it's not a car wash. We do a car wash.
That's what I'm saying. Earlier when I said, well,
yeah.
what exactly are you doing here apart from PPF? You said, Carl, we do car wash if you want us to.
I mean, really, it is car care.
Yeah.
But the car wash here will cost you 150 quid.
Yeah.
So it's not the best place to
It'd
go
be
for a car
worth
wash.
it.
Yeah, you'd be amazed at how many people
Yeah.
come here
Yeah.
for a car wash.
I'll bring my car here.
Yeah, turn up. I mean, the car wash isn't 5 minutes. But that's why you enjoy the lounge, and it's great.
So same thing with the new show. So we're expanding, and the main object is we're all in business to make money, but money doesn't really, for me, give me loads of inspiration. Okay. What gives me inspiration is I grew up watching how hard my dad worked to keep the Tom Hartley name at the top of the UK's supercar, independent supercar business. And obviously we're partners, we're completely 50-50. And he, a lot of people assume that, you know, he doesn't have much input anymore, but he does. I mean, he just in a different way. You know, he's there 24/7. You know, he still works as hard now as the day when he first started.
Fantastic.
So what motivates me is competition.
Yeah.
There's not enough of it.
Really? Yeah. So that's fascinating because, I mean, if you go online and look for a car, the amount of people selling cars.
Yeah, but we go back to what we talked about earlier. These cars are not competitively priced.
Fair.
They're not competitive spec. They're not value for money. These people don't buy your cars. You know, yes, you can drop it off to them and they can put it in their showroom. That's a storage facility. You know?
That's true. Yeah.
So,
but I guess it's hard to break into it now, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, of course it is. I mean,
it's easier SOR. But maybe we get SOR from here. But like you say, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, is it?
And people like yourself, who, as a kid, I mean, you're what? You're my age, 32, 33?
Yeah.
So you're now the age of a customer who was our typical customer. Someone who's seen the name, or their dad reading Top Marks magazine back in the day and seeing the advert and think, you know, their goal was to buy a car from us one day.
Yeah.
And you know, I get that all the time. I had a guy come down 3 months ago, and he bought a Porsche GT3 off of us, and it was a lovely carmine red, really nice car. And he said, Carl, it was a dream for me to buy a car from you one day. It was my goal. He said, I told my dad when I was 12 years old that I'd buy a car from you one day.
Wow.
But unfortunately, the story gets a bit sad. His dad died the year before, so he couldn't experience it with him. But like he had to live out. His
fantastic
goal,
is that?
You know?
Yeah.
So that's such an honor for me to be involved in someone's life like that.
And that's also a great why, you know, the fancy showroom isn't just about selling more cars. It's a full experience, isn't it?
We offer an experience that cannot be equaled.
I have not been to and I've traveled the globe filming cars in everything from dealerships to manufacturers. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass here, dude. I can't put my finger on an independent showroom, which is that cool.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'm not just saying that, dude.
But cool. that is what the mindset we had
it's cool.
Going into it. You know, me and my dad, nothing goes on in our business. The gardener doesn't get paid without us authorizing it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to stuff as, you know, we're so, and that's, you know, you've met me, Dad. We're very personal.
Yeah.
You know, people, when you come to buy a car,
you've got to get your dad on. He's a card, mate. He's a character.
You should get me dad on. You need to get him on the Late Show because he will abuse people. He will swear. He's honestly, and I know it sounds weird saying this because my dad, I spend a lot of time with him. Not as much time as you would assume. We don't see that much of each other. He's one of the coolest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
He is just, all my friends, he's just been kicked off Twitter.
Has he?
Yeah.
Good lad.
I don't know why. He reckons it was a copyright
claim
thing.
Or strike or something.
I think that's rubbish. I think he's set towards Theresa May or something, and they've kicked him off Twitter. He won't come clean, but I reckon he has. Amazing. But my friends say to me, like, Carl, the only reason I'm on Twitter is for your dad.
Your dad.
Like he's amazing. So, you know, what inspires me for the business is to keep the Tom Hartley name. You know, where it is, keep it at the top, and like I say, competition is welcome. You know, I want competition. Cool. I don't feel like I have any competition.
That's fascinating. So anyone listening,
I know that could sound like
setting up a car showroom.
That could sound like what an arrogant such and so whatever, but it's really not. I do mean it. You know, I don't think anyone can reach their full potential in business, in a sport, in anything, without being pushed.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And the
competition steps up the game, doesn't it?
We're still extremely hungry. Even you know, me and my dad, we're still extremely hungry for business. And, you know, we don't need to be. We could pick and choose. A lot of people do pick and choose who they want to sell a car to. You know, everyone's money is the same to me. Where you could be the Sultan of Brunei, who we have on our books, or
Really?
you could
Wow.
be Joe Bloggs, who really can't afford the car he's buying, but the finance
really
deal
wants it.
works,
Yeah.
and he wants it, and we might not ever see him again.
Yeah.
His money means as much to me as anybody else's.
Yeah,
so they get treated with the same manner. I hear stories of people, and it always happens in dealerships that are not independently owned. The service they get, a lot of people will agree with this. I think this might get a few comments as well. A lot of people get treated terrible.
Yeah.
People, you take a salesman out of a garage,
Yeah.
a manufactured garage. You take a salesman out there. You see if he puts the same effort in to selling his car on his drive as he does going to work every day and selling someone else's car in someone else's showroom.
Yeah, of course.
It's almost impossible for that person to have the emotional attachment.
There's nowhere near as much buy-in.
Exactly.
Nowhere near, yeah.
But it is with me
Yeah.
and our company, is because all the cars are our own. If we don't sell them, we don't buy them, they're not going to get bought, they're not going to get sold. And don't get me wrong, you get good and bad experiences with everybody. I'm sure there's people out there that would have had bad experiences dealing with me or with us, but maybe because they're not happy with the price that we offered them on their car. But that's the market price.
It is what it is. It is what it is, isn't it? Yeah.
That's life. You'll never get a bad service.
Yeah.
If you want to sell a car, you can't pick up the phone and get paid within 30 minutes.
No.
You can with us.
That is rare. Yeah.
You
Very
can
much
do
so.
it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm not putting a cap on that. I'm not putting a car up to a certain amount.
Sure. It's there.
You bring a car to me.
Yeah.
It's the right money, I can pay for it.
That's cool, though.
So-
That's a nice service to have. Particularly if you just want out of it. You want out of it quick and you want that car.
But also,
Great.
we've turned, when you get people, and we mentioned this before, when you get people go to the Gucci shop or Louis Vuitton or
Yeah.
whoever, and they buy their trainers or their belt or their wife a handbag or something, it's an occasion for them.
Yeah.
So they have a picture in the shop, put it on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be, outside on Sloane Street kind of thing. I'm now getting people, and this was my goal, I'm now getting people come to my place. Before I go, can I have a picture with you in front of my car?
That's nice, huh?
And that's what I want.
Well, lets you know you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and look, 9 times out of 10, people are going to lose money on cars. It's a luxury item that
That's just a
depreciates
thing.
in value.
Yeah, that is just a thing.
That happens.
Yeah.
I'm never going to put a gun to your head
Yeah,
and
go, you
make
must do this
you buy
part
a
X.
car.
Yeah.
So if you buy it, it's completely on your own accord.
Sure.
I might have helped you along the way. But
You don't have to, but I really recommend.
you went over the line yourself. And, these people are spending a lot of money. I want them to get the right service.
I had a fascinating experience buying my first. I guess you would class it really as a sports car, but there's the story on my channel has become quite famous that I blew my house deposit on my first sports car. So I saved up all of this money, and I just felt too young to settle down buy a house. So much to the dismay of my family and immediate peers, I blew my house deposit on an Audi R8, which, with hindsight, created all of this in the long run. It opened the doors to the whole car world, and most of my friends and even my wife that I met through this car. Anyway, that's hindsight, and I wouldn't recommend it still, but yeah. So I got this cash. I'd never bought a new car or a proper car before that. It was like I had a diesel 3 Series BMW, I had a Mini, and I was like, the Audi R8 had come out. I'd seen it on Iron Man. I was like,
Got to have that car.
I'm going for it.
Yeah.
I've got to have it, right? And at that time, I'm sure you remember when the R8 launched, aesthetically, the design and look of it, there was nothing.
There was nothing
It
like
made
it.
the whole industry stand to attention and go, oh, that's how you design a supercar, or
And the
sports car.
reliability of Audi behind it.
Exactly, amazing, right? So I was like, I got to have that car. Anyway, local dealer to me just so happened to be a certified RS dealer, which qualified them to be
R8
dealers
dealer.
for R8 dealers. And they got this car and a plinth in there. I've got to have it. So I walked in, and there's several people at desks, one on the phone, whatever. No one even looked
You're
at me.
going back to like 07?
Yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
Not the V10, which I had about
Yeah.
4 years ago. I'm
You go
going
back to
the
07.
original
Yeah.
V8 one, 07, right? I bought this car in 09. And I walked in, no nothing, no hello, 0. I mean, and at this point, I could have been in there buying an A1, second-hand A1. As it happens, I was going in for a new R8, and no one knows this, and so I was expecting this. You want the same treatment regardless of what car.
It's a lot of money. This is changing your life.
Changing my life.
Now. You're no longer not buying a house. You're having the car instead.
I'm having a car instead.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they don't know this, but anyway, I'm in. And I'm looking around and I'm looking at, got like a Audi TT in there, and I'm thinking that's probably a more sensible choice, but my heart and, whatever. So I walk in. Anyway, I'm looking around this R8, and no one comes and talks to me. So I'm like, okay, I'll go and ask someone. So I go over and I speak with this guy, and I say, hey, have you got any info on that R8? And he stays sat at his desk. He doesn't get up and shake my hand or anything. He looks up and he goes, oh, I think all of the brochures have gone. I don't think we've got any. I was like, no, that R8, like the one you've got in. Have you got any more info on it? Like at the time, like they didn't even have a price on it because it was like so new. And he was like, oh, I'll go and check in the back if we've got any catalogs on it. I was like, oh, all right, cool. So to be fair to him, he did go and find a catalogue of which, surprise, surprise, they didn't have any. So I was like, oh, well, I'm interested in the car. And he still got back from the storeroom looking for his books, and he sat back down, and he goes, tell you what, me and you will play the pools tonight, and maybe if you come up lucky, come back to me.
You're kidding me.
Literally said that to me. Right, and he made me feel this big because it was my first time buying a sports car, right?
Oh my God.
He literally said, me and you will play the bloody pools, right? And I was like, and it made me feel so uncomfortable. It made me feel like I wasn't worthy of this car.
Yeah.
The money was in the bank, ready to go. But even still, in the back of my mind, I was like, this isn't for me. I'm not the kind of person that buys this car, clearly.
People get that perception.
It's crazy.
People get that, and you're like a great example because you've got such a big following to tell people that supercar owners are not like that.
No, not at all.
They're so far from that.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And, that I think customer service is a massive thing.
Well, massive believer that people buy from people.
People buy from people, exactly.
You can get the car out, well, in most exceptions, particularly new cars that you can order.
Yeah.
There's plenty of Audi dealerships,
Yeah.
And so I'm a big believer that people buy from people. And mate, this guy, dude, was like, I mean, I remember it to this. It's making me angry talking about it because what I know now and the difference in mindset that I am now, I mean, I would have lost it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I tell you, man.
I had a similar situation. Not me personally, because obviously from being 12 years old, every dealer in the country must have had a picture of me saying wanted. Do not let him in your dealership. So everyone sort of knew who I was.
Yeah.
But a guy's come to me one day, and I ended up doing loads of business with him.
Really? Yeah.
He was from Daventry.
Okay.
Coventry boy.
Yeah.
Lived in Daventry. Rough and ready. Owned an extermination business.
What,
But
like rat catcher type of
Yeah,
vibe?
wasps,
Okay.
mouse.
Yeah,
He'd
all
go
sorts.
up and shoot 1,000 grouse
Right.
for you. Whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was hands-on.
Okay.
So he's come out to my place one day in this red van and I hope he actually listens to this, and he will. And it's such a great story. He won't mind me telling it. He's turned up to my place one day. He's I don't know, he's 6'2", baldish hair, few tattoos, gold chain. Got outside this red van with the Terminator splattered up the side of it, right? And
I want to meet this guy
he's
already.
got no appointment or anything. He's
Yeah.
turned up. He's such a character. He's turned up to my place, walked in the showroom. This is in 2005. We had the first 430 Spider available,
Wow.
like
Okay.
second-hand on the market.
Yeah.
And redwood cream car, and it was going. Talk about premiums. It was about a £50,000 premium.
Wow.
Back then.
Back then's a lot.
Yeah. So this car's like 185 grand. So he's walked in the showroom. So I've walked out of my office, walked over to the guy, shook his hand. I said, how you doing? You okay? He said, first words out of his mouth was, I'm really sorry I haven't got an appointment. I know you're by appointment only, but I was in the area. I hope you don't mind me calling around. So I was like, no, of course not. I said, are you interested in anything? So he said, yeah, I'm interested in that 430 Spider that you've got. This guy's in overalls, like,
Yeah.
he's
Work boots.
You couldn't have been more dirty if you tried. Like, he'd just come off a job. Do you know what I mean? He was filthy. So he's looking at the car. So that's the car. Told him all about the car. Because I was always taught, look, if I walk in somewhere, or my dad walks in somewhere, he more is now because he's getting a bit older, but we're not suit and tie kind of people.
Sure.
You know, I am what I am kind of.
Yeah.
And the guy walked in, I'm talking about the car. He said, how much is it? So I told him. He said, how much of a premium is that? So I told him. He said, look, a Ferrari dealer down the road have got a car that is a cancelled order, and I can have it for, it was being a bit naughty. It was still a bit over list, but it was nowhere near the premium that we'd had the car for.
Yeah.
So he gave us an offer that I didn't accept because I paid more for it myself.
Right.
So anyway, we ended up doing a deal.
Okay.
So I said to him, I said, why have you bought this car for more money when you know there's another car down the road at a Ferrari dealer?
Yeah.
He said, because I went to there first.
Yeah.
He said, and I walked into the showroom and they told me they said, not today, we haven't got time. Can you come back another day?
Oh dear.
So he was like, what for? And he was like, we've got, all our salesmen are tied up. They're in a meeting. We don't do this kind of thing on a Monday. Can you come back on a Friday? But they just thought the guy had just...
Don't sell cars on a Monday.
Exactly. So they really offended him. So he said, what I'm going to do now, he said, is the car ready to go right now? I said, yeah, this guy, I don't know what he's got or what he hasn't got, but every car he's ever bought, he's bought like that.
Brilliant.
And he's paid for it.
Yeah.
And he said, is it ready to go right now? I said, yes, it's ready to go. He said, taxed and everything. I said, yeah, it's ready to go. And he said, okay, bang. All on a card, debit card. I had to call the bank, 5 minutes, it's paid for. He said, I'm only buying it from you, so I'm going to take it right now to the Ferrari garage.
Amazing.
He said, I'm going to see the little so-and-so who told me that I couldn't come into their showroom.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to show him what I've just bought and paid through the nose
For it.
from you.
Amazing.
And if he never had that
buy
car,
from people, man.
if he never had that car that day,
Yeah.
he wasn't going to buy one.
Amazing.
He wanted one,
Yeah.
but then when that happened to him at Ferrari,
Yeah. So screw those
he had
guys.
no choice.
Yeah.
He was having a car today.
Amazing.
That was
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Huh?
So you know, just this is going out to everybody who works in dealerships. Just keep treating your customers like shit.
Send them your way. I was going to say be nice, but yeah,
Keep sending them
send
my
them to
way.
Carl.
Yeah, no, not everyone's like it. I hear stories all the time, but the moral of the story is you never, ever, ever know. You never know who's coming through your door.
I mean, in this day and age, man, my experience is the more casual you are, the more chances are. I mean, I don't know anyone who goes to a car showroom to buy a car in a suit and tie.
No.
Like, the opposite, in fact.
Of course,
the opposite,
of course.
totally.
I said to someone the other day, I was talking to a finance company, and I was this girl that does some stuff for the finance company. I text her at 10 o'clock at night until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Most nights. So when I first started doing this, she's like, Carl, can you text me in the morning as I'm at home with my family? And I'm like, look, between the hours of 9 and 6 of a daytime, I run a business.
Yeah.
Between the hours of 7 and 2 in the morning, I do business.
Sell cars. Yeah.
That's when I do business. I don't do business during the middle of a day because put yourself in my customer's position. You're a CEO of a company. You've got 50 staff working for you. It's Monday.
Flat out all day.
You don't want to talk to someone about buying a car.
No. Your mind's not in it, even if you do have the time.
Of course not. But you know when you get home that night and you've had a glass of wine and you've sat down, you've wound down from what hectic day you've been, then you want to listen to. You're bored. You've got nothing else to do.
So what you do is you tune into Mr. JWW.
Yes.
Find out about the car you want, and you buy it from Carl.
That's the way we work. So yeah, it's that's the way we work.
Yeah,
and it's
that's cool, man.
The business isn't a business. The business is my life, and my life is dedicated to this business.
So one more thing before we wrap up, because I appreciate on the topic of that, you're a busy man. I wanted to touch on when we started this chat. I said I first was familiar of yourself and Tom Hartley cars because of the adverts in the back of magazines. Today, with social media, I'm fascinated because I'm the person that creates the content for lots of these brands and manufacturers, and I'm living that world. How has it been for you in terms of interaction with clients, changes in sales, importance of it?
Oh, it's been great.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly important.
Yeah, man.
But what it also does is it gives people want an insight to, okay, you get the company Tom Hartley Cars. And then you get my Instagram, which is Carl Hartley, obviously. And they want to see who they might be buying a car from.
That's interesting.
They don't just want to see a company with no face.
Back to people buying from people.
People buying from people, exactly. But, you know, and I've done this experiment. For some reason, I've got more followers than what the business has got.
Yeah.
Mostly because I've done some really stupid things and people love to see that. But and my dad's the same. He's probably got more followers than what the business has got. But I done an experiment a few months ago where I put a car on my social media, but I didn't advertise it on the website.
Interesting.
Didn't put it on the company's social media, just mine. The next morning when I came into work, we had 4 or 5 inquiries on that car.
Amazing, eh?
So I just had to figure out how important it was, you know, to do it. Because I started my social media page as, this is my personal page. Business is business, this is my personal page. If I'm going to play golf, I'll put a video on me playing golf, whatever. But then it's come to a point where more people want to look at cars on my social media than what they do on the company's social media. Because I suppose it gives more of a reality to who you're dealing with.
It does, yeah.
But not deferring from your question, I think it's a massive thing. And you can tell companies that buy followers or buy promotions because they get less likes.
And the engagement.
They get no engagement and no one really, they're not a good follow. The reason you haven't got many followers, mate, is because you're not a good follow.
You're boring.
That's why.
Yeah. Or you're trying to sell to me.
Yeah.
Like
people don't want something
people
they're
don't want
trying
to
to
go
sell.
No.
Exactly.
It's the opposite reason you go to these platforms.
Yeah.
I know what I want to do is have some escapism and land on an advert.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's not what you want.
So I think social media is very, very important. It's really good to not so much sell stuff on, but communicate with your audience. People will follow me because they'll know who I am and what I do.
Yeah.
And it gives me a platform to communicate with them, whether or not they're buying a car now or in 3 years.
It's awareness, isn't it?
They might think to themselves, oh, you know what, that car's all right.
Yeah.
I'll give him a call. I want to buy a car, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
Where if you haven't got a face or a name to your company, then, you know,
Faceless, trustless.
yeah, of course. You know, you don't know you don't know who or what you're dealing with. So big thumbs up for social media on the car business. It's changed the car business actually.
Yeah.
It's changed the way it works, and you'll know that because so many manufacturers want to do so much with you because they haven't got your personality.
Yeah.
And they can't do what you do. They've got the product.
That's it.
You've got what you are. Match them together, and you'll do them a service.
So the win-win. It's what is interesting as well. Just quickly going back to size of accounts and engagement of accounts. The engagement on, I mean, you know, car brands. So you go on like Bentley's Instagram account, they got like 4 million followers or something berserk. But if you look at the ratio of engagement, quality, decent engagement versus the actual amount of followers they've got, I mean, it's disproportionate because they're not engaging with a human. You know, I mean, by the very nature of it being a brand account, every pixel on that page is curated to sell to you, you know, or to make it look good. Whereas when it's real, I mean, I watch your stories all the time. It couldn't be more real.
No.
You know what I mean? Because you're really doing it.
I will do a video
Yeah.
as I've just shook someone's hand and paid them for a car and I'm walking to get in the car.
This
is what I've just bought. This is what I'm doing right now.
It's cool, man.
This is
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
great.
You'll see this car back on my way. And like so many people message me saying, "Oh, you passed me on the M1, you passed me on
Really?
the M40.
That's cool, eh?
You know, that car's amazing, blah, blah, blah." And it's great. You know, I've got some, you would assume that, you know, with a lot of followers, I haven't got a lot compared to some people, but with a lot of followers, you would get a lot of hate.
Yeah.
I really don't.
You know what? I'm really fortunate. I mean, I don't know what it is about my audience. Thank you, everyone, for watching. You're all awesome. I mean, we get a few people. Normally, it's people who are new to the channel.
I get spelling mistakes. People don't realise that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not Carol Vorderman. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I left school when I was 12, and you know, I can buy and sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah.
But I can't spell.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Well, clearly it hasn't set you back, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I will cry in the seat of my Veyron.
Well, not as the case may be
Well,
anymore.
there you go. Yeah, I'm going to cry.
Cry in the seat of my 599 GTO. Yeah.
So, you know, it's what I always get. You always get them tosses, don't you?
Look, there's
I can't
always
get-
a proportion.
I can't get round there. There
and there. Yeah, interesting. That.
I try.
Yeah.
And I do try. If people see the effort that I put in to get it right, they wouldn't give me stick. But
Just put there, stroke there. You
yeah,
know,
I just
put
spell it
both
3
in.
ways. So, you know, but no, apart from that, I have a really good time on social media.
Yeah.
Social media doesn't rule my life. I use it because I enjoy it. And the minute I stop enjoying it is the minute I'll stop using it.
On that note, let's stop this podcast.
Thank you very much.
Carl Hartley, mate, I really appreciate the time, dude. It's always a
Thank you very
pleasure. You will be seeing more content with Carl because we always
We get on. We have a
have
good
a
laugh.
laugh, don't we? So links below, website to your website is Tom Hartley Cars.
TomHartley.com.
TomHartley.com at Carl Hartley something or other underscore. What's it?
Instagram is at Carl Hartley 1.
Give the man a follow, particularly his stories, because he's normally heading to the gym at a 599 GTO or something.
Yeah,
So.
swearing like a
Yeah.
trooper.
Thanks for coming, dude.
No problem,
See you
dude.
soon.